Backpocket presents Golden Nuggets. There are golden nuggets in every podcast we do. Here are our 3 golden nuggets. Enjoy. Have we broken down what the Fowler is exactly?
No, let's break that down real quick.
All right. So the Fowler is a business competition at the University of St. Thomas. It's hosted by Ron Fowler, who is the owner of the San Diego Padres professional baseball team, amongst many other investment companies. The dude's literally worth almost $5 billion. And so he's a cool dude. And he was a graduate of St. Thomas back in like the 70s or 60s.
Wait,
or
who is this?
like that. Ron Fowler.
Hey, Sam, write that down. Ron Fowler.
I already looked him up, yeah.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. You're the best, dude.
And so, he hosts this competition every year. I believe this was the 10th one, to basically just find new ideas and talent and push kids to create something in St. Thomas. And there's money and scholarships involved and whatever. And we literally sat in scooters and we had like 2-3 weeks before the submission deadline, and we still didn't really know what we wanted to do. And we were debating even going for it because, we could still do the class project and get by. We didn't have to do the Fowler.
Sure.
All right.
So we're sitting there like, do we really think we can put something together here in a few weeks? And you're like, well, if anyone can do it, it's us. And we went for it and we settled on the topic. And this is another funny story. So we settled on the topic. We knew we wanted to help, children and siblings of addicts, basically family members of addicts who often get, left out and there's not a lot of resources for them. And the idea we came up actually started as a blanket company of all things, right? It was kind of, the buy one, give one. We're going to create some really cool blankets. We're going to donate one to a family in need. We're going to have a scholarship fund, all this kind of do good blanket company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting because when you look at a lot of do good companies, no one really touches addiction. There's nonprofits and stuff out there shaped
Really
around
good
it.
point.
No one, it's a scary area to play. There's all sorts of, and I'm not taking away from any of them, but there's all sorts of, companies that are benefiting cancer and, other nations' economies, all sorts of them. You never see one for addiction. So we knew we maybe had a spot there to play, and we started building out this blanket company, and we knew nothing about blankets or fabrics, by the way. And we were going to like Joann Fabrics and buying big sheets of fabric and literally like cutting them up on my apartment floor and making blankets. And we had, thrown in maybe a few $100 into like blanket materials and building out this model. And that's what we applied for the Fowler with. And we got in. So that's the first process is you write a paper, you talk about the cause that you're trying to, or the need you're trying to fulfill, how you're going to do it basically, business model. And I think there was something like 84, 82 submissions, something in that ballpark. And based on the paper, they narrow it down to 16. We're going to come in and we're going to put together a pitch and a presentation and stuff. So with the blanket idea, we get in. And we quickly are working through it. And we're running into a lot of logistical issues as far as manufacturing, barriers to entry, how much that's going to cost. And we didn't want the cost of the business model to impede our impact, right? Like that was our end goal, is to help families. And manufacturers shouldn't have to get in the way of that. So immediately with our professor and stuff, started like looking through different models. And we kind of learned about the idea of knowledge commerce, which was, you see them all the time where poker players and chefs are like, take my course and learn how to play poker like me, and, those kind of things. That was what knowledge commerce still is and was.
Is that kind of like coaches too?
Yeah, you see everyone.
Life coaches, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to the life coaches.
Or,
And you can even describe it as like the how-to market.
Yes.
Yep.
And you're just going on to YouTube how to do Excel, but obviously in a different form.
Yeah, all sorts of people like learn how to get my sales funnel on,
Yes.
all sorts of stuff like that. But we were like, the idea of knowledge commerce is really convenient. Knowledge at your fingertips, download a course, whenever you want to use it. It's a convenient idea. And so what if we used it to teach all those things that the high schools weren't? And that was when the idea was kind of born, that we can basically pool a bunch of videos and knowledge and interviews of recovering addicts, their loved ones, different perspectives. We had EMTs speak with us and really kind of paint this picture of what is addiction in America. Stories from addicts, stories from, parents who tried to parent through it, of kids who tried to kid through it, and, really assemble just a pool of stories of real life applications of things that worked and things that didn't and all that stuff, in hindsight, now when we can say it worked, and provide that to families because they're not getting it in schools And there's a lot of stigma and judgment, and people are often very, very hesitant to like seek out counseling and stuff like that. So we wanted to provide a tool that they could download on their phones and computers and stuff to start in the privacy of their own home. You know, this isn't an alternative for counseling. We always try to throw that out there. Like, we're not telling you don't go to counseling, use us. Like, but it's step one, you know, learn everything about the issue and learn how other people have gotten through it, and then you can sort of apply that to your own lives and figure out where you want to go from there, from the privacy of your own home. So it started there, and then it just kind of, you know, next step, if we can make a course for families, we can probably make a course for high school students and like start implementing this into high school curriculums and stuff like that.
And just to get my timeline down, when you pitched to Fowler and the whole project, where were you at in the project? This was just kind of the idea of it. You hadn't actually done the interviews yet.
Right. So
okay.
I'd mentioned I'd done like almost 30 speaking events before, and a lot of times I'd spoken with a panel. So I knew people already in the industry. I knew I could get these people to do videos and stuff like that. But we pitched the concept, and we started talking to my high school and a couple ones and stuff. And we kind of learned that like DARE is sort of failing right now, business-wise. So DARE is the national powerhouse for drug prevention and awareness. They do a lot of the...
What does it stand for again?
What is it? Drug and alcohol...
Sam?
This just shows how bad it is, honestly, because I don't know.
Can we look it up?
Yeah, look it up.
Yeah,
something education.
Yeah, so I have a laptop right here.
Drug, alcohol.
Abuse resistance education.
Okay.
Drug.
There.
Say that again one more time, Eric.
Drug abuse resistance education.
Gotcha.
That's the one. So in the 80s, the Reagan administration built out this nonprofit around the idea of drug prevention and stuff. It was the first time in 83, I believe, that America acknowledged they had an addiction problem and what they were going to set out to do something. And they started doing all these surveys and data sets and putting together the numbers, and here's how big the problem is. And they started teaching it. Like, look at this big problem you need to be aware of. And in the 80s, they were like, we're going to educate our youth, and this problem will be solved for the generation to come. And then we roll around to the 2000s and 2010s, and addiction in America is more rampant than it's ever been. And they said, well, that didn't work. And now all these institutions and stuff are beginning to drop DARE programs because they're expensive and they're not working. And there's many other factors. It's not purely a lack of education, but education is certainly not keeping up with the problem.
Correct.
So we were like, well, there's an open door, right, for high school districts in that market. And that was what we pitched. We said, here's this opportunity, and here's basically our compelling advantage to solve the problem.
You're out, baby.
Yeah.
Never say die.
And we rallied together, and we were, of the final four, we were the third team to go. We laid it down without a hitch. We were perfect on script, perfect on clicks. Everything was perfect. And we knew, like, we got off that stage, and we were like, well, if we don't win, we left nothing on the table. Like, we can hardly be mad about it.
That's awesome.
Well, and you guys had a business idea that was, baller. That's so cool. Were you competing against Scott Ballard?
Yes, he was in it too.
No way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He wasn't in the Final Four, was he?
No.
Oh.
He was actually in the same first room as us. So
okay.
It's kind of, we really wanted to see Scott do well, actually, because we're friends with Scott, and we got put in the same room with him. And, we're like,
and if it wasn't for Scott, we wouldn't be here today. So,
Yes.
Scott's always providing value, man. Shout out to Scott.
Yep.
Well, so then you won the Fowler Award.
Congrats, by the way.
Congrats.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yep, Eric too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
Congrats,
good
Eric.
work, Eric.
You're also crushing it over there. What came next? So you win it, and what's kind of the follow up after that?
Yeah, so I guess immediately we win. First place gets you a $15,000 scholarship, and then we also won the $1,000 bonus for best presentation.
Wait, when was this?
This was November 16th, a Friday, a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
Oh my God, this is very recent.
Yeah, it's very recent.
Holy
and so it's been, to follow your question, it's then been wild after.
Okay, let's unpack it.
Yeah, so basically, just from day one, like, we win, right? And then everyone comes up to me, and I'm so-and-so, I know someone, here's my business card. And so we're like, okay, we got all these business cards, people.
Dude, that sounds exactly like any LinkedIn event you go to. It's just the exchange of business cards. You're like, all right, what do I do with all these?
Yeah. Right. And so we basically started unpacking those, and then news people like St. Thomas was like, well, hey, we want to do an article on you guys. And then it's my local town paper, Chaska Herald, we want to do a thing with you guys.
Oh, and then it's a podcast, dude. Like,
the Backpocket comes over.
Now you got the Backpocket going after you? Dude, right on. Now you've hit it big, so
right.
making your rounds.
Yep. and people start reaching out. It's the weirdest things of a kid in the crowd who saw us. Dad owns a rehab center, goes home, tells dad calls us, like, now we're in touch with this rehab facility that wants in on it. And so we immediately got like this outpouring of like, we need this. And it was just so reassuring. It was been the funnest couple of weeks here because we were like, A, we won, that's pretty cool. B, like, holy cow, at this response and like the demand for it. Like, not only did we have a good idea, but there was people that were basically begging for it. And so then we were like, we better hurry, and start putting stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where we're at right now. And we're currently building out everything and all our videos, all our content. We've got pilots set up with high schools already for the spring. And we got to be ready to roll. So we're working our butt off here through the end of December. And luckily, we're not taking a J-term class. So we're locked in on this.
Focusing on.
And we're going to build out all our courses. And we're doing our official launch here in the first week of February.
Wow.
And yeah, and in the meantime, we're doing podcasts, we're doing news articles, we're just telling everyone about it and starting to share the story, because it's really interesting every time. There's yet to be one that I have not had someone come to me and say, like, me too, basically. Like, I have this problem and you're helping me out. And this is just a virtual speaking event, basically, right? So, whoever's out there listening, that's like, this could be something my family or a family I know could benefit from,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's our way of saying something's on the way.
So let's get back to our Backpocket roots here, boys. The Matty C Memorial, a little background for the new listeners. This is, Andrew, you got it?
I love to do this one.
Okay.
So Matty C, my roommate of now, it'll be, this is the third year living with him. And, we had a lot of interaction with him playing football. And you guys have heard this story many times. He is a little hesitant when it comes to making a decision that he is a little uncomfortable, or really in most decisions. And he'll sit back, you'll ask him a question. Hey, you want to, go watch the game at Liquor Lyle's, grab a beer, and get some half-apps. And he'll sit there and he'll look at you, silent, a little afraid. He can't say no, but he doesn't want to say yes because he doesn't want to commit himself. And he'll just be like, well, I don't know. And you're just like, dude, give me an answer. So we made a segment about it, and this is probably, I'm just going to go off on the record and say the 11th time we're doing it.
It's like the 11th time. It's our favorite segment. We can all agree on that, right?
Yes.
It is definitely our favorite segment. It is just an absolute blast. So what we do is we will say things that we are hesitant on, and we will ask each other that, and then we will respond accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
So I will go ahead and start. When you're at the bar and your buddy taps you on the shoulder and goes, you want a cider? And you're just, I'll stick with a Bud Light.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. All right, how about when Declan habitually asks you to go work out on Tuesday morning at 5:30, and you're just like, well, I'd rather be sleeping, so I'm going to hold off. And then you have Vinny come on your show, and he runs the place, and he asks you again, and you're like, well, I probably should, and then I end up going. So, I don't know, man.
And now you got the bug, by the way.
I got the bug.
My next one here is when I get in my Uber ride in the morning at 5 in the morning when I don't have my car, and I go right up into that Uber driver's ear in the front seat and I go, hey, you want to listen to my comedy bit? And I just look him right in the eyes, and he just looks at me like with this crazy look in his eye, and he goes, I don't know about that one, dude. Sam, you got any?
Yeah, I got a good one.
Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah, so when you're hanging out and there's somebody, you're talking to somebody about Netflix, and they talk about Making a Murderer, and they're suddenly like a forensics expert because they watched that show, and they just look at you and they're like, Stephen Avery is so innocent, and you're just like, I don't know, there's blood everywhere. I mean, yeah, that was when I thought of.
That was good. Bravo.
Really good, dude.
I just thought of this one. This happens to me probably every night. I'm getting into my bed and I'm like ready to go to sleep. Like I've done everything, brushed my teeth. I've gone through my routine, and I put my head on the pillow and I realized my contacts are still in, and my garbage can's like across the room, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm getting up. I'm just gonna throw these contacts on the ground. Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
How about this one? You are, some random high school kid who went to Chaska, and you're in the same room as Sam Schoeneman, who's like, famous in Minnesota. And he goes, yo, dude, do you know Bobby Schobert from Chanhassen? And, the kid
just
is like,
who is this guy?
I don't know. I played hockey with him, dude. I don't know. Maybe. This is kind of you, Sam.
Shout out Derek and Etta, actually. That's what I asked him about, the kid from Chaska. Played hockey with him in Mankato. Yeah. Shout out Derek.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, I can't wait till we have, someone who really doesn't know anybody, but you're still throwing names. You got a lot of name drops here in Minnesota, and I love it.
Yeah.
I did not realize when we hired you on, looking at the pros and cons with you, and you obviously had no cons, which is why we hired you. But, I did not realize how famous you were.
Oh, calm down. Come on.
Dude, you are so famous. You posted an Instagram with some girl, which, I don't even know her.
Shout out Mackenzie.
Shout out Mackenzie. Great marketing intern, hopefully. You're like, yeah, I bet a bunch of you people will comment on it. You got 500 likes and 150 comments. And I sent it to Andrew. I was like, what's going on with this kid? Our intern's out of control.
He's the best. He's the best at what he does.
I don't know what to say. I'm blushing.
You're just you, dude.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
This is my life.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's Golden Nuggets. If you want to watch this version of Golden Nuggets, go onto YouTube and search the Backpocket Podcast. You'll go under that channel and you'll be able to find everything you need. If you want to read the Golden Nuggets, go to yourbackpockets.com. That's with an S, yourbackpockets.com. And go under the tab blog, because that's where you'll be able to read it. If you want to interact with us, go on to social media, the Backpocket Podcast on Instagram, or on Twitter, _the Backpocket. You know the drill. Interact with us. We love your interaction. Take care.